A live look tonight over downtown Troy. Today we saw high wind gusts and record-breaking temperatures across the Miami Valley. And even though the wind has now died down, we are under a code red weather alert as we come on the air tonight.
That's right. Now we're still following some severe storms. They're going to be heading to our area tomorrow afternoon. So we want to go over to Natalie now. Natalie, how strong are we talking here?
Well, right now we have a level 2 threat for severe storms across the Miami Valley. So we could see some isolated strong to severe storms firing up by tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Level 1 threat off to the northwest. We're going to monitor this very closely because it's going to be dependent on rain that we see in the morning and if we get some clearing into the afternoon. Either way, we want to be weather aware as we head into the day tomorrow because this is what we're going to be tracking. Damaging wind gusts will be our main concern. There is the risk for an isolated tornado, and of course heavy rain is in the forecast too. So we'll be monitoring this as we check into the day tomorrow. For right now though, it's going to be a little chillier tonight. We're in the 50s and 40s. We have 43 up in Wapakoneta, 50 in Dayton, with temperatures that are going to be falling into the upper 40s by early tomorrow morning. Rain is going to eventually develop, so kids heading out to the bus stop tomorrow, rain for the start of the day, thunderstorms into the afternoon. We do get into the 60s, but again, by the second half of the day tomorrow, we are going to be tracking that severe risk. So I'm going to be timing it all out for you, what we can be expecting coming up here in just a little bit.
Natalie, thanks. And as we get weather updates, we'll alert you here on air and through our Dayton 24/7 Now app. With that app, you can get breaking weather alerts sent to the palm of your hand. In fact, if you'd like right now, you can scan that QR code on your screen there with your phone's camera, and you can download the app. You can also find it for free in the Google Play and Apple App Stores. We'll also be providing updates on all of our social media accounts as well. So be sure to follow and like the pages on your screen if you haven't already to get the latest information.
We're following breaking news right now out of Dayton. Police responding after we're told a man was shot tonight. Officials say it happened just before 10:30 tonight along Delaware Avenue. We are still working to learn more about that victim's condition as well as a search for any shooter. As we learn more, we'll be sure to update you here on air and online. Well, several students and parents at a Springfield elementary school are upset tonight. That's after police say a number of black students forced several white students to state Black Lives Matter against their will. Gwyneth Falloon is following this story for us tonight, and she joins us live from Springfield now. Gwen, what have you learned about this?
Megan, according to a Springfield police report, officers were called here to Kenwood Elementary Monday morning about an incident that took place Friday afternoon during recess. That report states a group of black students gathered several white students and forced them to say Black Lives Matter against their will. Allegedly, some students were chased, thrown to the ground, or even punched in the face.
Now, what is the school saying about this then, Gwen?
Megan, I spoke with the school district earlier and they couldn't provide any additional information. However, they did send me this following statement saying, quote, "The Springfield City School District is committed to providing our students with a safe learning environment where they look forward to attending every day. The district is aware of a situation that occurred at Kenwood Elementary, and we are working closely with the Springfield Police Division on this matter to ensure that we maintain that safe environment. Because this is now a police matter, no additional information is available at this time," end quote. Now, I also spoke with some parents earlier this afternoon, and they told me their son is terrified to return to school, and they believe those involved should face consequences. If you would like to hear from them, you can find our full story on our website. That's Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. Hundreds of people came out tonight for a candlelight vigil on the campus of Michigan State. They gathered near the Rock, a lasting symbol that has grown into a memorial for the 3 students killed Monday when a shooter opened fire. The victims have now been identified as Brian Frazier, Alexandria Verner, and Ariel Anderson. The Rock now reads "Always a Spartan" after the school's mascot. Students and faculty both laid down flowers and prayed. Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan spoke tonight, echoing the words from one of the victims.
And had some advice for some underclassmen in her high school yearbook. She wrote, "Today may be hard, but tomorrow will be better. Together, let's make sure that tomorrow is better."
Whitmer is vowing to do everything in her power to enact change. The suspected shooter, 43-year-old Anthony McRae, shot and killed himself after a manhunt. Police are still trying to figure out a motive.
Now, for some students at Michigan State University, Monday's mass shooting wasn't their first. Ava Ferguson survived both the shooting Monday and a shooting at Oxford High School back in November of 2021. At Oxford High School, north of Detroit, a 15-year-old opened fire, killing 4 students and injured 7 others, including a teacher. Ethan Crumbley, that suspect, pleaded guilty to terrorism and first-degree murder last year. Less than 2 years later, Ferguson, though, had to endure trauma all over again.
After Oxford, they said that this wasn't going to happen again, that we were going to be safe going back to school. And that's just not the case. The other night, I was in shock. I didn't think it was real, honestly.
She's now calling for Congress to pass laws that will put an end to school shootings.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine taking to Twitter today. He says water testing results are showing no detection of contaminants in the East Palestine water system. He also says the Ohio EPA is determining that the water is safe to drink. Now, this statement is coming just hours before East Palestine residents came together for a town hall meant to address questions from people.
Now, residents still have lots of questions for local, state, and federal agencies. People are wondering if the air and water in the area is safe and if Norfolk Southern, the operator, is going to be responsible for the derailed train, will be held accountable. The village's mayor, Trent Conaway, had this to say.
I'm done playing games. They're not playing games either. It's not he said, she said. They screwed up our town. They're going to fix it. If they don't, I'll be the first one calling all you back to do this all over again.
Norfolk Southern did not attend the town hall meeting. State officials have insisted that municipal water is now safe to drink, but is still recommending testing for private water wells.
It has now been 12 days since that train derailment sent that big cloud of smoke into the sky, and residents, they are still anxious as they return to their homes, citing health issues for both people and animals. Now tonight, questions continue to be raised over who's going to be paying for the damage done. Norfolk Southern, the company that operated the train, said it was creating a $1 million charitable fund to support the community. But Governor Mike DeWine says that company's got to pay for everything.
They're responsible for this. They're responsible for a very serious train wreck that occurred with some very toxic material. So we're going to hold their feet to the fire.
Officials from the train operator backed out of attending that town hall tonight, citing threats to its employees.
The criminal charges filed against a News Nation reporter who was arrested during Governor DeWine's news conference last week have now been dismissed. Evan Lambert was arrested while reporting in East Palestine. Lambert was handcuffed and removed from the conference last week, where an update was being given on the train derailment. He had been charged with resisting arrest and a second-degree misdemeanor and criminal trespass, a fourth-degree misdemeanor. Now, the dismissal of the charges was announced today by Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost, who said, quote, "My office has reviewed the relevant video and documentary evidence and is dismissing the charges against Evan Lambert as unsupported by sufficient evidence." While journalists could conceivably be subject to criminal charges for trespassing in some situations, this incident is not one of them, end quote.
And now that the cleanup is underway, the focus outside of East Palestine is how to prevent something like this from ever happening again. Christian Hauser reached out to Ohio's 2 U.S. Senators, Sherrod Brown and J.D. Vance, to find out what they plan to do to make the railroads safer.
In a letter just sent to the NTSB, Brown and Vance, along with Pennsylvania Senators Robert Casey and John Fetterman, demand to know what can be done to improve safety practices regarding high-hazard flammable trains. They specifically point out the need for all trains carrying hazardous materials to be labeled as such, whether they have one hazardous car or 100. The senators also cite the need for more thorough inspections of rail cars to help identify issues before a disaster like East Palestine occurs. Railroad staffing practices are also brought up. The senators say major railroads like Norfolk Southern cut 30% of their workforce between 2015 and 2021. Lastly, the letter questions whether enough money is being spent to make sure the rail lines are safe. The letter states the 7 Class 1 railroads, those are the biggest like Norfolk Southern and CSX, have spent more money on stock buybacks and cash distributions and paid more than $77 billion in dividends since 2010. Now that's more than they've spent on maintaining their infrastructure during the same time period. The senators don't expect an immediate response and want the NTSB to finish its investigation, but they do say they will also be pressing the U.S. Department of Transportation to improve railroad safety. In Cincinnati, I'm Christian Hauser.
Well, we're following updates out of El Paso, Texas tonight after a shooting in a shopping mall there. Lydia Bice is live tonight at the Now Desk. Lydia, what exactly happened there?
Well, Adam, first we want to give you a look at the scene. This is video from just moments ago in El Paso. At 7:19 p.m., the El Paso Police Department tweeted that they were responding to a shots fired call in the food court of that mall. El Paso police say that one person is dead and 3 people are injured after a shooting at the Cielo Vista Mall there.
And Lydia, do we have any information about the suspect involved?
One suspect is in custody. However, police are still sweeping the mall and interviewing witnesses to gain a better picture of the incident. Now, the mall is next door to the Walmart where 23 people were killed in a mass shooting in 2019, one day before the Oregon District mass shooting here in Dayton. Back to you.
All right, Lydia, thanks so much. Earlier today, a semi jackknifed into another vehicle on 675 North. This was near Indian Ripple Road. So here's a better look at that video. We caught it from our ODOT cameras just before 4:30 this afternoon. Beaver Creek police were already on scene for another incident, and you can see the semi slammed into several cars on the side of the highway. 675 North is back opened and traffic is moving normally again. Now, we don't have any information on injuries right now, but we'll keep you updated on air and online as we get anything new.
Crews responded to an overturned semi today on West Main Street and over I-75 in Troy. Now, it was reported originally that there was fuel leaking while that truck was turned over. The semi was then turned back over around 4:30. No injuries out of this. The cause of that overturn remains under investigation tonight.
The Buffalo supermarket mass shooter facing family members of his victims. The emotions erupting in the courtroom during today's sentencing.
And Montgomery County now set to host its next vendor outreach event. How this could truly benefit small businesses around the area.
Plus, tracking our code red weather alert with storms on the way for our Thursday. I'll time them all out for you coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The father of the suspect of a deadly July 4th shooting in suburban Chicago now faces charges himself. 58-year-old Robert Cremo Jr. is now charged with 7 counts of reckless conduct for helping his son get a gun years before that Highland Park shooting. Prosecutors say Cremo Jr. sponsored his son's application for a gun in December of 2019. That's despite knowing his son had threatened to kill himself and his family earlier that year. His son, Robert Cremo III, is accused of killing 7 people.
Buffalo gunman Peyton Gendron will spend the rest of his life in prison without parole for the racially motivated killings of 10 black people at a supermarket last year.
I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black. Looking back now, I can't believe I actually did it.
The 19-year-old apologized to the victims' families and said that he doesn't want people to be inspired by anything he did. The sentencing was filled with emotions from Gendron and family members of the victims.
Come to our city and decide you don't like black people. Man, you don't know a damn thing about black people. And because of you murdering my dad, I'm pissed and I'm sad and I hate you. And I didn't think I would be strong enough to look you in the face and tell you this.
You will be nameless and faceless, and we feel sorry for you. We pity you even. Your life was meaningless before May 14th, 2022, and you woke up every day feeling small.
Gendron faces separate federal charges that could carry the death penalty.
Well, quiet weather across the Miami Valley after a very warm and breezy day, breaking records, climbing into the lower 70s early into the afternoon. But we do have a strong storm system that will be pushing its way in. That's going to bring us the threat for severe storms as we head into the day tomorrow. Taking a look at satellite and radar right now, you could see a few things going on here. We have wintry weather back off through parts of the plains, severe weather, severe thunderstorm watch into Arkansas, Oklahoma, several severe thunderstorm warnings, and a tornado watch for parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Now, this is part of our storm system that will be making its way into the region tomorrow. So we're going to start out the day with rain. Could see some heavier rain at times. Notice temperatures will be in the 40s as we start off the morning. And then we'll see a little break, potentially some clearing by the late morning into the afternoon. And then by the evening, evening between 6 p.m. it looks like. We'll monitor for the potential for some stronger to severe storms to develop with the line ahead of a cold front. So we're going to monitor this severe threat. Again, this is about 5 p.m. where we could see some strong storms. Damaging wind gusts would be the main concern. There is a low end tornado risk. That would head off to the east, and it turns colder back into the 20s as we head into our Friday morning.
Natalie, thanks. The Dayton City Commission voting tonight to approve a new tool for the police department. Fusus is a video networking system that will live stream video from participating partners in the community straight to officers. The department says the technology could cut the time it takes to investigate crime.
It makes you situationally aware that when you're responding to something, you know what you're walking into. It will help us investigate better and be able to come to a resolution quicker.
Now, Dayton will be included in a pilot program at no cost to the city. Phase 1 of the pilot program is going to roll out downtown and is expected to start in 30 days, running until June. Once the program is complete, the commission will then review the results and vote whether or not to fully implement the technology.
This Dayton man will spend at least 20 years in prison for causing the deaths of 4 people. 41-year-old Kelsey Williams distributed a fentanyl cocaine mixture around New Year's of 2019. Those drugs caused 6 overdoses, 4 of which were deadly.
Now, Montgomery County is hosting its next vendor outreach event in hopes of supporting more local small businesses. Clara Faith spoke with people involved on both sides about the impact of working together.
The Montgomery County Outreach Vendor events will help the county expand partnership with small business owners, also educate them on the process of doing business with the county. Officials say some small businesses may not know how to connect with local projects.
In the past, we've heard that some businesses just don't know how to do business with the county. So we're just trying to bridge that gap, give them the education that they need to be able to apply for a vendor, become a vendor.
If you are a small business and would like to connect with the county, you can go to the web version of this story. I included the link so you can register your business. Now back to you.
Claire, thanks. A live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam now. Well, we hope you enjoyed the warm temperatures today because things are changing in a hurry tomorrow. It'll still be relatively warm, Natalie, but a lot of rain perhaps, huh?
Yeah, a lot of rain, and then we're also tracking that severe weather potential during the day tomorrow. So let's go ahead and time out our day for us, because we start out in the 40s. So it is going to be a little chilly, but heading out for the morning commute, plan on rain to be out on the roads, potentially ponding out on the roads, as we could see some heavier downpours for the start of the day. Then we start to see temperatures climb. 60 by around lunchtime. We could potentially see some clearing around that hour. And with some clearing that takes place, that could help destabilize our atmosphere just a little bit, and then potentially bring us that threat for stronger to severe storms by tomorrow afternoon. So between about 3 to 6 p.m. will be our main threat for those thunderstorms across the area. So stay weather aware as we look into the day tomorrow. Once those storms move out, colder air slides in. Take a look at our temperatures over these next several days, getting into the 30s on Friday, back into the 50s as we check into next week, which will feel more like spring again, above normal for this time of the year.
Natalie, thanks. At least 2 people are dead after a helicopter crash in Alabama tonight. What we know about the incident so far. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
At least 2 people are dead after a helicopter crash this afternoon in Alabama. It was a Black Hawk from the Tennessee National Guard. That crash happened around 3 o'clock. According to U.S. military officials, that aircraft caught fire immediately upon impact. Now, there's no information yet on what led up to that crash.
Tesla is making part of its massive charging network available to drivers of other electric vehicle brands. The White House says that the company will make it at least 7,500 chargers available nationwide by the end of the year. Tesla is the country's most dominant EV manufacturer by a long shot, so this is going to expand limited access to public charging. White House officials say drivers' confidence in being able to find charging stations will encourage more people to switch from traditional gas cars to those electric vehicles. And speaking of Tesla, workers at a Buffalo, New York factory are working to unionize tonight. If they succeed, it would mark the first group of workers to form a union at Tesla, which has resisted employee organizing efforts in the past. Workers want higher pay and better benefits and are coordinating their efforts with Workers United, which is connected to the Service Employees International Union.
And speaking of vehicles, Nissan is recalling almost 500,000 older vehicles, and it's all over an airbag issue. That recall mainly affects Nissan pickup trucks and SUVs from the 2008 through 2011 model years. Nissan says the problem is because of the emblem on the steering wheel can come loose and injure drivers when the airbag is deployed. Now, the company says there have been 4 reports alleging injuries due to that problem.
A story now from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. Kettering Health is expanding to a new facility in Franklin. That new facility just opened to patients, in fact, today, and is going to offer primary care and lab services. The new building has 24 exam rooms and is going to house the Kettering Health Medical Group Primary Care. This is in addition to the existing 24/7 emergency center and imaging services at Kettering Health's facility at 100 Kettering Way. And we have all the details for you right now on Dayton247now.com. You can find this story plus others like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab.
The Flyers, they're preparing for an A-10 opponent that sits below them in the conference standings, why they shouldn't take Loyola Chicago lightly come their Friday night showdown.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Good evening, I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. 1 month from now, Dayton men's basketball will know what postseason tournament they're in. A big factor of where they go is how they close out the regular season starting on Friday. Anthony Grant's team is headed to Loyola Chicago for a Friday night contest The Ramblers are at the bottom of the Atlantic 10 standings, but did take the Flyers to overtime in Dayton 2 weeks ago. UD winning on a trip to Chicago earlier this season when they beat Wyoming in a neutral site game back in December. The Flyers currently battling with VCU and St. Louis for the regular season title, and the UD women winning on the road tonight at VCU 70-65. Double doubles for both Mariah Perez and Ariana Smith. Wright State men have completed the home portion of their regular season. They have 4 straight road games until the Horizon League tournament, a stretch that begins Friday at Cleveland State. That game has a lot at stake for both teams. The Vikings in contention for the regular season title, and the Raiders trying to get a first-round bye for the conference tournament. Wright State winning twice at home last week over IUPUI and Northern Kentucky. Their game at Oakland on February 23rd will go a long way toward whether the Raiders can get that first-round bye, and the Wright State women also on the road this weekend. Boys basketball playoffs beginning this week in Division I. Centerville winning tonight against Fairborn, so the Elks advance to play Belmont in the second round. Monroe with a second half comeback to beat Xenia. They will face Sydney after the Yellow Jackets won against Butler. Girls playoffs, Fairmont wins against Wayne, so the Firebirds will play Bellbrook next, and Tri-Village also among the Wednesday winners in girls basketball. And we're just days away from the Great American Race. The Daytona 500 will take place this Sunday. You can watch over on Fox 45. Coverage for it starts around 2:30 p.m., and I will have more that night on Dayton 24/7 now after a winner is determined.
Well, severe storms are in the forecast for tomorrow. We're tracking that severe weather potential. Low in tornado risk, but we can't rule out an isolated tornado with any storms that develop tomorrow. Large hail, not a huge concern, but we'll monitor for that. Damaging winds would be the main concern, with winds up to 60 miles per hour possible. And then we'll also see some localized heavy rain that we will be monitoring as well. So just stay weather aware as we head into the day tomorrow, mainly tomorrow afternoon into the evening. We will be here